Okay, folks, here we go.
Guys, here we go. Let's have a good show.
1B, stand by. Okay,
Yeah.
Yacht,
Yeah,
take it.
take it at midfield.
Take
Just
it.
go right now. Go to camera 3. 3. Go to the gate. Perfect. Just like that.
I'll just go ahead.
Yeah, graphics 2 is going to be up for the first. Okay.
Take it.
Go right now. Go to camera 3. Go. Yep. Go to the gate. Perfect. Just like that. No music.
I'm going to hand to Q. Sophie.
Wait for it.
On radio in the Canal Zone.
All right, guys, mic check.
Go ready.
Okay, Ricky, mic.
Yep, I am ready.
Wait for it.
Willie, mic check.
Yep, let's go.
1B, stand by.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and we're live.
Okay, and go for it, guys.
All right, guys, here we go. It is June 27th, end of the month, but we are now T-minus 1 week and counting for the Canal Zone reunion. It's Friday night. It's 8 p.m. Eastern time. It's 5 p.m. Pacific time. And, of course, it's 7 p.m. Canal Zone time. Ricky is experienced some technical difficulties. He is joining us here tonight, but he just bounced out. I think he's going to hopefully try and bounce back in here. But nonetheless, like I said, guys, it is T-minus for reunion time. So a lot of the show tonight is going to be reunion based. We're going to talk about the reunion, what's in store for this upcoming reunion. Maybe share some reunion memories. Ricky's got a Bochincha show there. I think you with us, Ricky?
I'm back. Sorry about that, guys. San Francisco, man, the land of technology is failing me.
Yeah.
Sorry for that little bit of a
Happy
delay.
Friday, Papa.
Yeah, happy Friday, everybody. Thank you. Like Willie said, 5 p.m. in the West Coast. Salute to everybody. As you guys know,
Salute, man.
let's get this show started.
Yeah, we got
Guys, as you know, Willie and I, both born and raised in the Canal Zone, Panama, here to welcome you to the happy hour at the Balboa Yacht Club, a live show that is all about the Panama Canal and the Canal Zone way of life, a weekly podcast that always starts with the toast.
That's right.
Salute to you guys. Salute to everybody.
Salute indeed.
Zonians,
Captain Andrew,
non-Zonians.
salute to you as well.
All
Cheers.
you guys. Cheers.
And before we go any further, don't forget, guys, subscribe to the channel on YouTube in particular. It's youtube.com/@SCN Canal Zone. Kind of strange how they do that. But anyway, it's SCN Canal Zone. You can look for it there. But make sure you subscribe. We get a lot more spreading the word and letting some fellow Zonians to join us. But in the meantime, again, it is quite the show coming up here. Let's say hello to a couple of folks there, and then we'll
get this.
and move right
we'll
along
get started.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Jim, I'm going to see you next week. Jim, looking forward to that. Sit down and have a nice long chat. Jim's going to join us sometime in August to talk about his role in the Panama Canal, both in the Canal Zone at the time growing up there, and then also he helped out quite a bit with the new locks, which we're going to mention something about later on tonight as well, though. But good to have you on again, Jim. Again, Captain Andrew, cheers to you as well. Salute, Papa. Well, just do another one. Salute, everybody. It's Friday night. It's happy hour at the Balboa Yacht.
It's a happy hour.
Yes, and then, of course, Captain Chris Jeffries, even, of course, all Zonians, salute. I think he's up in New Hampshire tonight, if I'm not mistaken.
All our Tina Carols are on.
Mm-hmm. Yep. But nonetheless, looking forward to a great show. Let's just move along. We are talking about the reunion. It is T-minus time for that reunion. So we are counting down the time. So might as well kick it off with some community announcements, which pretty much are going to be about the reunion. So here we go, guys.
SCN Television presents K Pasa. And now here's this evening's host, Army Sergeant Bob Foster.
Good evening and welcome to K Pasa. We've got two guests tonight. First Sergeant First Class Jim Webb. Sergeant Webb's with the 227th Military Police Detachment. He's the kennel master.
I remember that tune. What's his name? Herb Alpert and the Tijuana.
Herb Alpert and the Tijuana Brass.
Yeah, that is our little trivia there. But yeah, that's what we got going on this weekend, guys. Is rest, pace yourself, relax. Because in a few days, you'll be at the Canal Zone reunion in Orlando, and brought to you by the Pan Canal Society. Great
Yeah.
job those guys do, by the way. You got to mention that every chance you get. At the reunion, guys, make sure, if you can, of course, stop by and if you can volunteer, they certainly still looking for volunteers. But you see somebody that from the Pan Canal Society, definitely give them a thank you and heck, buy them a beer, man, because these guys do a great job putting this reunion on. And as we learned from Bill McLaughlin last year, it's quite the undertaking. So by all means, help, at least if nothing else, just a thank you for putting on a great show. But there's a lot going on in the reunion, right?
Yep. And don't forget to wear your name badges.
Yes.
So when you register, not only so everybody knows who you are, but you get that 25% discount
Yeah. No,
on all the
absolutely.
food.
Yeah.
And you get some special prices on your drinks too. You're not paying bar prices
No,
when you at the Canal Zone events when you have the your batch on. So make sure you got that on, guys.
listen, there's open bar, or not open bar, but there's free beer on Saturday at the pool party. But you have to be a member of the society, and there alone, you'll probably be able to get your money back on that $50 membership. In
Yeah, they
addition
don't run
to,
out of beer. It's
they
last
don't.
year it was just on and going and going and going and going. They
Absolutely
never ran
right.
out.
Absolutely right. And it's just, in addition to that, the discount, because that place is it's a vacation resort hotel, right? It's not a Motel 6. So it's not it's not a budget place to eat, but you get really good food, but you get quite the discount when you're a member of the society. So that alone, between meals there and that pool party on Saturday, you are more than
Gonna get
getting
your money back.
worth,
Oh,
man.
yeah.
And then you got a
Totally.
membership for the year, right? With the Canal records coming out all the time and stuff. So, but great question, Captain Andrew. Will we be broadcasting from the reunion? So as of now, the latest plans are, and they're not written in pen, they're in pencil for sure, is Ricky's not going to make it. He's in San Francisco, so he'll be broadcasting from his studio where you see him right now.
There's a
Or
10%. We're still 90-10.
correct. It's like the weather, it's never a sure thing.
Uh-huh.
But if not, or in Big Bear, sometimes he does at his, his mountain retreat, But if not, he may actually show up at the reunion. Either way, what we're planning on doing is we're not going to use a room per se, because I'm not sure that a lot of people, you're at the reunion, you're not there to go and stand there and watch somebody do a live show. So that in that sense, I don't think it would work out. And I'm not going to sit in a hotel room, doing
All
a
by
show.
yourself.
Yeah, well, there's thousands of
A reunion
out
going on.
there, So out in the long walkway where all the
Down the
festivities are, where
escalators.
the museums are, the ball, all that stuff. You got a couple of sections there of sitting areas with couches or whatever. And I think I'll just set myself up right there because there's a lot of traffic. It'll be cool to say hello to people as they walk
Yeah,
by.
as they walk by, yeah.
And talk about the reunion. I do plan on walking around Friday and Saturday, Thursday night and Friday, and try and get some footage that we can share.
Try to get to the vendors.
Yes, that I want to try and do on Friday. Walk around to the vendors, the auction, and
see what's out there.
Say hello to some people and have them say hello to you guys. It'll be, of course, pre-recorded, but there's enough traffic there that we won't be short for having some Zonian want to stop by and say hello, I'm sure. But that's we last year's security, they absolutely did. They didn't even try and let us start at first, and we kind of finagled. We bought a little bit of time, but
because we were just straight up lying. That's why. And the guy was like, just stop lying and get out of here. No, but there was this manager with 2 eyes, I'm sure.
It was quite the Zonian way of doing it.
Yeah, it was a Zonian move there, man. But it worked out. It worked out. It was a funny show.
One way or the other, though, we will be broadcasting, and there'll be plenty of Zonians around to say hello to, for sure.
Well, after you spend your $50, I got another way you can spend a little bit of money, guys, and that's on the Despedida lottery.
Yeah.
Okay. So I want to promote the Despedida a little bit because it's one of for me, Willie, maybe not for you guys out there, but for me, it's like the quiet event because it happens on Sunday, right? And it starts like at 9:30 because you want to get there at 9:30 so you can get good seats. But they have this farewell party called Despedida. A couple things happen, right? At 10 a.m., the folklore dancers go out there and dance, with the polleras and the montunos and the whole steps, the whole thing, and the second event, which is the kick-ass event. Oh, sorry about that, guys. Is the lottery. It's actually the 24th annual lottery, and all the money that is purchased for tickets, go to 4 lucky winners. Okay, so
Yeah.
it's kind of a party where everybody's kind of mellow, right? It's 3 days of nonstop Zonian love, so you kind of mellow out. You kind of say bye to all your
Yeah.
friends,
course.
talking a chit chat about what happened next year, this and that. You watch some polleras. After the pollera dance, all those pollera people, Willie, are available to take pictures. So imagine getting a picture.
Oh, right on.
Yeah, it's gonna be a great thing.
Sure.
And then, hey, the only way you can win the lottery is if you're there. So if you're not there, your number's called. The next guy gets it.
Te jodiste.
De jodiste. So listen, there's 3 prices, guys, for this lottery ticket. For one single lottery ticket, $5. Okay, so that's not the best deal, but still they'll take it. For 3 tickets, $10. All right, that's the better
Okay,
deal.
yeah, that's the deal.
But the real good deal is 8 tickets for $20.
Wow.
So 4 lucky winners, it's a big Zonian thing. They get your lottery thing in there. So yeah, that's my thing tonight is to promote that despedida. I haven't done it, to be honest with you, but I am going to do it on my next one.
Yeah, and the other thing is that this reunion in particular, there's unfortunately or fortunately, depending on how you want to look at it, because it is always something we're supposed to be doing celebratory. But there's a couple of celebrations of life on Thursday. Thursday afternoon is going to be the celebration of life for Al Sprague. And I apologize. I'm trying to pull up the details here, but my Facebook is freezing up.
But it's going to be easy to find. I imagine everybody's going to want to be there. I mean, and all of them. I mean, these are all big icons in the Canal Zone.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're all celebrating their lives. Again, like last week, we're so lucky, When we pass with all our buddies and we party your life, and it's just wonderful, man. Part of the Zonian way.
Yeah, no, indeed it is, and so that one is going to be going on Friday at. And I don't want to mess the times up because I know we had to change these times, so I want to double check that. But the Cicero family is doing a celebration of life for mom and dad. Mom passed away a couple of years ago, but it was during COVID, and so of course with everything going on, it wasn't like anything was able to be done. And then dad just passed away a couple of months ago, and so they thought, hey, the reunion would be a great place. The Ciceros were a well-known family in the zone, and so they've got a celebration of life that will be put on Friday afternoon. And again, I'll pull up the details here shortly, and we'll put them on in the banner there so you guys can see them, get dates and times on those. And then the last one on Sunday after the despedida, there's going to be a small celebration of life for Guille Payne. A friend of the show as well, and of course, it's just
he was on every Friday till his last one. So. To Guillen, to all those iconic Zonians, man, up there.
Yes.
Right on, man. Keep the party going.
Yes, indeed.
Thank you for letting us all be part of this great history.
Yeah, no, for sure. Absolutely. But nonetheless, that's, they are celebrations of life. That's what we want to do. And we don't mourn. We celebrate, which is quite fitting for Zonians because Zonians are very celebratory.
Willie, it's just, the whole Canal Zone, we always say on the show, one of the big things about the Canal Zone was the social life, how important that was.
100%.
100%. And now listen, I got a little fun fact here, Zonian fact. ASCA fact. You guys know what ASCA is, right? Atlantic side kicks ass. All right. The first social club ever built in the Canal Zone was during the construction days, right? And it was the Tarpon Club on Gatun Lake. Now I got a question for all you guys out there. Is the Tarpon Club and the Yacht Club the same spot?
There we go. And we had quite the Atlantic side coverage last week, so we didn't cover that last week, but we will. That's just going to be a recurring theme to learn about the Atlantic side, or the other side as we called it, and find out these things.
You know what?
I think we're two different ones.
Hey, listen. Those guys are the Golden Coast. The more I learn about the Golden Coast, the more I'm like, God, we missed out. It just was a beautiful place, man. And I want to learn more about it.
Just a train ride away.
Yeah, but I remember it being exciting. It almost felt like you were going stateside when you went to the other side.
All right, here we go. So it was 2 different locations. Thank you. This Mark Owens is one.
Yeah. Now, is the Tarpon Club, I believe I read this, but I want to be sure that the facts are right. Is it's still open, if I'm correct. The Tarpon Club is still open till today. I could be wrong, and I'd love to see if anybody out there knows that answer.
There you go.
But it was the first one ever built. So, Aska, you guys got the first social club in the canal during the construction days. Right on, Cristobal side.
Atlantic side was where everything started at first. You know, it was easier to bring supplies in, and most of your industrial, heart of the United States was on the eastern seaboard anyway. So
yeah, you are right.
It was a quick shot.
Yeah, you are correct about that.
But then, of course, Balboa's.
Yeah, we were spoiled with all the great infrastructure and the beautiful architecture and the city planning, and oh my God,
I think Ancon Hill and Sosa Hill were the
administration building.
Yeah,
Whoosh, you name it.
It's much prettier than the Pacific Ocean in Panama. That is true. They do have the Caribbean Sea. It is very nice out there.
Yeah, you know what? Zonians have always said the Caribbean Sea. Panama's now promoting because Panamanians say the Atlantic Ocean. So Panamanians are now promoting the Caribbean Sea. Why? Because it sounds warmer. The Atlantic Ocean sounds cold.
Appealing. That's right. That is very true. Atlantic. You think of the Atlantic, you think of the North Atlantic.
Yeah, exactly. So there's a big push now to call it the Caribbean. But Zonians, we've always called it the Caribbean.
All right. John Frank here saying, I don't think the Tarpon Club in Gatun is open. Google Earth showed it in disrepair. Yeah,
Oh, that's too bad.
I had a video the other day, and I can't find it for the life of me. But the floating dock at the Balboa Yacht Club sank the other day.
I saw that. Yeah, Pablo Prieto posted that. Yeah, I saw that.
I'm going to try and find that again.
Well, look, guys, there's a business opportunity if there's ever one right there. Revive the Tarpon Club, the first social club ever.
Yeah, absolutely. Do that after you do the Balboa Yacht Club, but revive it.
That's a great story, being the first.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, that is cool. And as we well know, that was something that was a big deal in the Canal Zone from day one, was the importance of making life in Panama in the Canal Zone appealing. Because it certainly in 1903 was not appealing.
Well, remember the first builder, he quit because he couldn't get anybody to work, anybody to stay, couldn't get. So yeah, it was a nightmare. What we have here, Pacific Ocean is not a true tropical ocean in Panama. Oh, really? We got a little piece on this. That's true. A cold water current from Peru during dry season, water would be cold sometimes when we were spearfishing. Hey,
interesting.
And we have a little something on this tonight, guys.
Yeah,
we're gonna talk about that.
No, exactly.
Our history.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Kieran says Tarpon Club across the locks by the spillway, not actually Gatun. Okay.
It just says on Gatun Lake. That's what.
So it's on the west bank then, is what it sounds like from what Tiernan's saying.
Perhaps.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah, but it'd be good to. There's a opportunity there.
Yeah, absolutely. But that's cool. That's what the other cool thing. We always learn something, even from. In fact, I think we learned a lot more other than the first Friday of the month with Dave Dahlstrom. Most of what we learned from people in the audience, chiming in or correcting us.
True. But David has helped out a lot, and guys, it's unbelievable the stuff.
Yeah,
that
he has. No, and then and certainly, and then Captain Andrew with that canal report is awesome. We've learned a lot about transiting the canal, about ships, and then of course when people are talking about the canal is over, you got a dry season, this, that, and the other, and then we have the voice of reason that says, wait a minute, man, I work here, guys. Okay, let me set the record straight before you read it from the Atlantic or the New York Times or something. This is me.
Oh my God, I've read articles recently how the Panama Canal's dying.
It's amazing.
And you see these desert shots and stuff like that. I'm just like, come on, guys, man. Everybody reads it.
Yeah. Yes, on the lake and the Chagres. Okay, so it's on the. I guess on the downside of the spillway, is that the way to call it, or so it's not, or it is on the lake. You know what?
I can almost see it to the right.
Isn't there a part of the Chagres that branches out around the spillway as well? If I'm not mistaken.
We have that map, Willie. Let's just bust out that map that we're going to use anyways.
I got that map.
We're supposed to be on K Pasa. Look at us, man. We always get carried away. All right, reunion numbers. Because we got Botija tonight and we got Made in Panama. So, guys, we got a great show. Hang with us. Let's get through our reunion because it is next week, and we want to make sure you guys are all informed of our iconic reunion, guys. It really is. It's I know for a fact they were around in the 50s, so that's 75 plus years
Oh
of
yeah,
you
of
know
consistently doing this, other than of course that COVID period, but and always a absolute first class program.
yeah.
The,
Look
the,
at the golf tournament's 45th.
yeah,
That's
right.
not
Yeah.
Jesus. And the lottery 24th.
So I
So
guess we
yeah.
did. Well, I guess did they have those
But this
in
kind of
Tampa? I guess they had the golf tournament in Tampa. I just don't
in
know where. But I wasn't golfing
wow,
back
that's a
then,
good
so
one. I don't remember if 86 in
yeah.
86 if I went to that
But
or
we weren't in
not.
golf, so we wouldn't have been involved in that
Yeah. Yeah. I know I did dance on top of the speakers with Kelly Morris.
anyway. There you go. That is a Zonian thing to do, indeed.
Lucho Escarraga goes playing. Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh
yeah.
my God.
Speaking
Sorry,
of
Kelly.
Lucha
I should have said
Escarraga
that.
and music, that's a great segue and regarding music
Oh
on
yes,
Saturday
and
night.
Kelly Morris.
Oh,
Wow,
right.
that worked out kind of quick,
Yeah,
kind
sure
of
did.
nice. She's
Sure
been
did.
asking us to promote this,
Yeah,
and we will.
absolutely. Let me find it here. Where is it?
And it's about the band, the new band that we have for the reunion. We kind of mentioned a little bit last week. These guys are Orlando, all Latinos, and will be taking over all the paranda music that
Yes.
Lucho used to provide, and then Preto, and then now we have our new guy. And then we do have his name, and as soon as Willie pulls it
Hold
up
on, here
there,
it is, right here. It's these guys.
those guys right there,
Yeah,
like Salsa Cumbia or something like that. Their names,
yeah. The
Salsumba.
Yeah, Salsumba Orchestra.
Yep, those are the guys. There's our new Luchos Garrigas who are going to be providing us with paranda music.
Yeah, so it sounds like they say it's
Paranda.
a salsa and Latin jazz orchestra formed by a joint collaboration of the pianist, music director, and their lead singer. Right on. Their main focus is connecting with the audience and getting them involved, which is cool. It's not just playing music. They're gonna kind of hang out, and Zonians are cool to hang out with. So they'll
Yeah. Well, they got to get to know us and be a
Right.
part of us, and maybe we'll bring them on the show. We can ask Kelly if we can contact them, and maybe after the show, bring them on, see what they say about us.
Well, we're going to be on the air the night before. Maybe if they're at the reunion, they want to stop by and say hello and tell us a little what they do.
That would be
That's
something
interesting.
good, but
Yeah.
definitely afterwards, if not.
Yeah.
Because let's make these guys part of this community. And speaking of community,
And listen, they promised to learn some Lucho songs. So there you go. Hold them to it.
for sure. I don't think they have a choice. They're gonna have to.
Yeah, well, that's
that Saturday Night Ball is iconic too. Boy, I've been using iconic tonight.
Yeah.
But it just makes sense. The Canal Zone
Yeah.
feels that way. Being
does.
a part of it, feels like
No, it definitely does. It
Yeah.
definitely does.
they go hand in hand. Well,
So-
guys, today's birthday. While Willie's going through that, I just want to tell you that everybody here celebrates a very special birthday with a very special event, and that is today is the 9th anniversary of the opening of the third set of locks, better known as on the Atlantic side, Agua Clara, and on the Pacific side, Cocoli.
Yeah.
Now, I'm glad they used that name, Willie, because just like the towns that we've spoken about in the past, like that have disappeared, Gorgona, etc.
Right.
Cocoli now is a town that has disappeared because of the new canal, just like the other ones. So it was, in my opinion, I don't even know if that's the reason why they did it, but I mean, that was so appropriate to call it Cocoli, that lock, because it's exactly where Cocoli used to be.
Yes, correct. That's
If you
why.
guys remember the French Cut, if you guys ever jumped off the French Cut.
And the thing about it is so big, it in size, it's amazing, especially when you look at an aerial shot of it, how it dwarfs the Miraflores and Pedro Miguel locks, because that one covers both of those, and it goes parallel to them in a sense. But
yeah, there's like two lanes, and they got different elevations too.
And there's now an island
landed between them.
Yes, correct. That Andrew's talked about before, that island now has a bunch of deer on it, and there's not a lot of predators to get to it because it's surrounded by, locks,
water,
and canals on either side. And so the animals that got caught there when the construction started are the ones that are there now. And it's pretty cool to see. It's interesting to see. And even
the Zonian deers live a great life. Oh my God.
Yeah, yeah, and all those ruts that that Jerry Curtis and company left there at the motocross there, because that's gone, unfortunately. That's
Yes, I
right where
heard. I
those
heard
locks
it's all
are.
gone.
So,
Yeah, yeah. Well,
but
the crocodiles are all reproducing a lot. You know, they kind of own that little bit of that territory there peacefully with us as we were growing up.
yeah, and it
Remember
was funny that Andrew mentioned that the crocodiles have learned that when the dredges are using dynamite to loosen the earth to clear it out, that they gather around there because every time they set those off, it kills a bunch of fish and it's just free food, man. So the crocodiles have learned. You hear boom, boom. Okay, get over there, man. Or probably they know when that dredge pulls up, they just hey, come and hang out, dude. In a little
Yeah,
while,
yeah, yeah,
smorgasbord,
yeah. There you go. Zonian way of life. Another Zonian way of life.
So there you go. So back to the reunion, though, guys.
Back to reunion.
Let's just pull up the schedule so you guys can see what goes on where, and then the map. I mean, I'm not going to pull that up. That's too hard to read. You'll figure it out. There's signs everywhere. Just follow the Zonians. You'll find everybody. But here at this page, it gives you some good information on the times, what's available when. That Information Society office, if you want to volunteer, they still need volunteers. Stop by there. You know, even if it's just for one event or for a couple hours to give somebody a break. Right, sit in one of the tables there to collect tickets or something, and just to help out any way you can. Registration 10 a.m. to 12 noon, 2 p.m. to 3:30, and then 4 p.m. to 5:30 at the Gatlin Room, at the Gatlin Ballroom A1. So be cognizant of that. And I know outside of that registration is where they have bulletin boards, and I know they'll have a lot of signage there for the class reunions. So if you're class of 75, class of 85, maybe 95, I don't know, whoever else is 65, I think 63's got one. Anyhow, class reunions, that's where you can find information. And I've seen before where they put a bulletin board and ask, you know, if have you seen so-and-so, or do we know if so-and-so is at the reunion? So kind of a cool place to put your name down so people walk up and see who showed up, and maybe somebody you haven't seen in a lot of time. So yeah, it's kind of fun to see that.
Yeah, that's good info right there. Yes,
absolutely. Vendors room sales 1 p.m. to 6 p.m. Gatlin Room B. That's on Friday. Okay, Thursday the vendor room again is 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. The location is Gatlin Ballroom B. So Gatlin Ballroom is that massive one, and they just, of course, close off the sections there and break it into smaller ones. But you're going to have the vendor room sales there. The Panama Canal Museum collection from the University of Florida. Their Gatlin Ballrooms A2 and A3. Again, along that entire strip there, that's where the exhibits are, along with auctions. So the exhibits is really cool to see because you have some really nostalgic things to look at there, and take the opportunity. You're already there. You're kind of in that generous mood. You're kind of in that Zonian nostalgic mood. Support them for a year. Sign up and become a member of the museum. It's $26. Okay,
unless
throw
you
that
see
down
my
on
name.
those guys. You know, and then they have the auction, which again is really a rental because you'll wind up giving the stuff back to them here.
Well, which is fine. Which is fine. Listen, the one I recommend, guys, is the recipe books, Zonian foods and dishes. Those are always do very well.
Yeah, absolutely.
You'll see a whole lot of that.
Absolutely, and you'll see this guy there a lot, you know, with a camera. Carlton
Mr.
Morris,
Carlton Morris.
Yeah, he'll be taking a lot of photos there as usual, both indoors and outdoors. He's got his water camera and everything. So
now I gotta be honest. Being his good friend, I get to see all the Zonian pictures he takes before everybody lets me post them. And then he puts them out. So thank you, Carlton. I love you for that.
You get a right of last refusal.
No, for reals, man. He always sends them to me first, and then I post them on my Instagram.
Very good.
There you go.
Yeah, so look for Carlton because he's always walking around looking for some great, you know, reunion shots and great Zonian shots.
Oh,
and
he'll find them.
Yeah,
you know, he'll find them.
For sure. BHS 75 will be celebrating their 50th. More than 100 folks. Wow, right on, guys. Well done.
So beautiful, man.
Yeah,
so that's the Canal's own way.
Absolutely. And Steve asked earlier about where you guys going to be on Friday night for the reunion. So again, in front of those Gatlin ballrooms, they have a bunch of sections with sofas and little tables. And I'm going to set up there. Ricky, at this point, latest news is he's still going to be up in San Francisco. So, you know, he'll be broadcasting as normal. I'll be right there, you know, in front of you guys as well. So anybody that wants to walk by and say hello and pop yourself on the air, by all means, join us. We're happy to have you on.
So, guys, it's when you're coming down the escalator and you got that long hallway. It's going to be in there. So you'll have plenty of time to see them from a distance.
Yeah,
Get
you'll see,
yourself
because
psyched out.
I gotta have a little bit of lighting and everything else, so
Yep,
you
yep.
can't miss it. But it's gonna be a lot of fun. I may get
All
up and
right.
walk around a little bit inside in the well, I don't even know what's gonna be open. Let's see, Friday night. Well, we got the schedule here, fortunately. How about that? So Friday night we have
Keena's will be playing for sure Friday night. They kind of always do the Friday night night event.
okay. Well, okay, Friday night continued. Here we go. So there isn't anything going on.
What do you mean? Like what?
So
Compared
look,
to what?
okay, so look, Despedida lottery ticket sales, 1 p.m. to 3 p.m., whatever. Okay,
Yes,
Friday.
the specific time to buy those lottery tickets.
Right.
Twice a
Baile
day.
Panameño is 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. Okay. The on-site dance and all that is 3 to 4:30. Again, during that time, we're going to be doing the celebration of life for the Cicero family. But then you look down here, continuing Friday, you got 9 p.m. to 1 a.m. is a dance.
The dance with the Keenas.
So for the first hour of the show, there won't be anything going on. So we'll just be broadcasting as normal. And then the second part of it, then I may get up and walk around a little bit and just say hello if we get
right. Because remember last year, that first hour, we had a lot of people in front of us, and then it started dying down.
They were all at the bar, which in fact, I may have to think about that because we may not have anybody out there. Most people, being that there's nothing going on down there at that hour, there may not be people walking around down there. So we'll figure it out. We'll play it by ear.
Yeah, we're not expert yet, but we're getting there. We're getting. Plus, we only have one shot a year to do it.
Yeah, and I'll
Pedro, what's up, man?
And I'm going to blame Ricky for everything for last year anyway. So if somebody wants to give me a hard time and push back on me, I'll try and get set up somewhere and go.
Me at the reunion, Willie thought I was going to walk around with a microphone. I'm like, come on, Willie, man, it's like me at the reunion, man. I'm going to be everywhere.
A roving reporter. I was banking on it, but. I'm still looking for that footage. He said he sent it.
Well, I'm
it
all
got
over
lost
the
in the mail or
place.
something.
At
It
the
really got lost in
reunion.
the mail.
Yeah, I go to bed early. I get up early, but I'm everywhere, man. I like to participate with everything, and of course, all the chit chatting you do with everybody.
It's true. To really have, if you wanted to have really effective like coverage like that, you have to find someone that's not a Zonian and go, dude, here's $50. Can you just walk around filming this stuff?
Yeah.
Because otherwise it's hard, man. It's certainly hard to stop without enjoying and having fun. But compared to it, class of '85 Saturday night, right on. Okay, excellent, good job.
Yeah, that's reunion night. That's where all the classes. I mean, they get together like from Thursday, but I think Saturday night's like when they do the pictures and the big event.
So let's go through the calendar then real quick. We kind of were jumping around here, but Thursday the 3rd, then the golf tournament is in the morning, 8 a.m. shotgun start. I'm not arriving till Thursday night. I've got to work on Thursday. I couldn't get the time off, but they have vendor open 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. on Thursday, so be mindful of that. The museum collection, again, like we said, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. The society office, and information area is open sporadically, 10 a.m. to 12, then again 2 to 3:30, and 4 to 5:30. Then registration, 10 a.m. to 12, 2 to 3:30, same thing, same hours, probably right next to each other there, but that's where you got to go to get your badge and your tag and everything, which, like Ricky said, you're wearing that thing, you're getting your discount at the hotel restaurants and everything else. And you're getting into the pool party and able to enjoy some cold ones that are compliments of. We'll pull up the sponsors for that pool party because there are some people that were gracious enough to pony up to pay for that beer. It's free for us, but it wasn't free from the hotel. And nothing's free from that hotel. But they were gracious enough to do it, so we'll give them some love and let you know who that was. So if you see them sitting around there somewhere, give them a thank you. Or I know one of them is Monkey Howler sauce. Right, those guys are doing it. So definitely swing by at the vendors and pick up some of their hot sauce because it is fantastic. It's a genuinely good sauce. And I've talked to Georgia Teak with this healthy eating thing that we're working on, and I sent him a bottle. He looked at the ingredients and he goes, "Absolutely, this stuff is great." And hot sauce actually is good for metabolism. So and on top of that, you get one that has all natural stuff in it, no preservatives and stuff. So that's Monkey Howler sauce, and mine is amarillo, man. So check that stuff out. If you want.
That amarillo, I always have it with sancocho, and it's good.
Oh, fantastic on sancocho, man.
Yeah.
Are you kidding?
Or chicken soup, because every time I tell my cousins,
man. Yeah,
no. If you live in the States, you can't call it sancocho. If you're like my Panamanian cousins, every time I go, "Hey, try my sancocho," they're like, "No, bro, that's not sancocho. That's chicken soup."
Right. It's chicken soup, man. Come on. Yeah.
Because we're missing like one or two Panamanian ingredients, or we added
Right.
one too many ingredients. So yeah, that's they get to have that.
Yeah,
They
Idaho
get to have
potatoes don't qualify for sancocho.
Right. But you put a little bit of that sauce, I'll tell you, it tastes just like from
Yes,
right
it
straight
does.
from Agua Dulce or
You
something.
know it, man. Yeah, that's some good stuff. But yeah, check them out. And again, we'll try and mention the other sponsors as well. The on-site dance. Remember those dances? You got to get tickets and those similar hours, guys. At that time period is when most of that stuff is going on. 10 a.m. to 12, 2 to 3:30, and 4 to 5:30. Again, at that Gatlin Ballroom in that foyer area. So make sure you catch them there. Okay, Pedro's giving us an update there. Pedro is buying the first round for class of 85. Oh, look at that. Way to go. That's Mark Owen throwing that one out there. Well done. Hey, right on. Here it is. It's on.
Is
announced
it
right here.
Ralphie class of 85? We got to tell Ralphie
He's
get his free
87.
beers.
He's
87? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So,
Wow. Ya estamos 35 minutes.
Yeah, well, we got no guests, so we're cruising along. But so there's a bingo, no charge to participate. Bingo from 2 to 4. Gatlin
Oh,
Ballroom.
that's a Zonian way of life right there. Bingo.
Yep. And then, of course, the Reunion Clubhouse is always open 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. Great selection of food there that you can always, and just a place. It really is actually, for the reunion, as crazy as this is going to sound, it's a great place to hang out with somebody that's quiet. Because it's always just a low buzz. People are just talking at their tables. It's not a big party and there's not a bunch of yelling and carrying on. So it's kind of a nice place to get a bite to eat and relax and just chit chat a little bit. And, get caught up with
turn
somebody.
down the noise a little bit.
Yeah.
There is a lot of
recharge
noise.
the batteries. Yeah, we're Zonians, man. So, and then of course we went over Thursday night. Then Yacht Club reunion kickoff dance with the Salsumba Orchestra. Okay, so they're playing on Thursday night too. It looks like.
No. They got moved to Saturday. There's another band that's going to be playing there that being sponsored by the class of 80.
Class of okay, it says here sponsored by class of 75
or 75. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, so if Steve, if you got any information on it, throw it in the chat.
Like who's going to play that night?
Yeah.
I saw that it was crossed out.
Right. Okay. Then Friday, July 4th, the annual meeting is going on. That's 9 a.m. to 9:30 it starts. The doors open at 9, begins at 9:30. Okay. And then of course the reunion clubhouse open 11 a.m. to 4, and everything else similar to on Thursday. Times are times are a little more. They got more time here on these registrations and ticket sales and all that. Looks like 1 to 2:30 and then 3 to 4:30. So actually the window's a little smaller, but
and then that cornhole, that's Friday. That's what happened on Friday, but that's on the daytime.
Correct. The cornhole tournament is early afternoon on Friday. Yeah, that should be a lot of fun. And now you can tell that how we progress and grow on this show, and not just the show content and everything, but us ourselves here, because there was a time when Ricky couldn't bring himself to say cornhole, and now he just said it with gusto, like, hey, the cornhole tournament, here we go. And so you gotta love that, man. That's that is his Zonian way too, right? There you go. So, but anyhow, Friday night continues again with that 9 p.m. to 1 a.m. is a Friday night dance with the band Aquinas. I hope I'm saying it right. Yeah, Class of 80 is sponsoring it. Thank you, Class of 80, for bringing a dance there.
Now those guys are good. Those guys are fun. They know the Zonian crowd. Those guys will get you to dance. They know all our hits that we like to
and they're entertaining. They put on a good show.
Yeah.
After hours DJ dance with DJ Mac, 11 p.m. to 2 a.m.
Right
on. There you go. And then Saturday, July 5th, again, you have the Reunion Clubhouse, 11 a.m. to 4, the annual luncheon from 11:30 to 2 p.m.
Don't miss that, guys. That's really good to go to.
Yep. Then you have the vendor rooms again at 10 a.m. to 6 p.m., the museum collection 10 to 5, the poolside party 1 to 5. You can't miss that one. You have to be a member of the society in order to get the free beer. You can certainly jump in the pool, but you got to stay. You got to stay. If you're not a member, you got to stay in the uncool side of the pool, over by the wall there.
And they got this hat for you too.
You gotta wear this hat. They do. You got to wear a hat, okay? But no, they don't. But seriously, guys, $50. Come on, help the society out. It's a fantastic expense. $50 to give you all of these things plus a whole year of great Pan Canal coverage and whatnot.
Yeah.
So
all the 70-year-olds will be partying on Friday night.
You know they will. The society office is going to be open on 10 a.m. to 11:30 on that Saturday. So not long. They got to go party too. Registration 10 a.m. to 11:30, which I imagine I can't imagine you're coming in to register for the reunion at 3 in the afternoon on Saturday. There's not much of a reunion left at that point. But
But registration for the hotel rooms does start at 3, guys. So you guys coming in Wednesday, Thursday?
Correct.
3
And
o'clock.
now at this point, they've said if any questions about the hotel rooms, you have to call the hotel directly. Okay, because we're again inside that window. On-site dance tickets are still 10 a.m. to 11:30, and then Despedida lottery tickets are 10 a.m. to 11:30 and 3 p.m. to 4:30. Get those tickets, but remember you have to be present to win. Okay, it's,
and you get to watch that folklore dancing, and you get to take pictures. It's a win-win.
Yeah. And then there's that bingo again, 2 to 4 p.m. on Saturday. There's a Catholic Mass, 4 p.m. to 5 p.m. There's a murga at 8 p.m. That's a lot of fun, guys.
That's a lot of fun, yeah.
Really, really cool. That, we'll hear
bring
that
your camera.
Yeah,
bring your camera and your video, because you want to video that.
And then the annual ball, 9 p.m. to 1 a.m. at the Gatlin Ballroom.
And they're going to serve dinner this for sure this reunion. So it's going to be like the old school, where they serve meals and the sit down and the music.
This is a strange, crazy thought here, but what if we do the show on Saturday night instead of Friday night?
Up to you. I'm good. But our guests are going to have to be informed.
What guests?
I mean, the people that watch our show on Friday night.
Oh, well, yeah. We'll promote it throughout the week and let people know that it's going to be on Saturday night.
We can do both.
I'm open to do something, because I think we're gonna have a lot more people down on Saturday night. You have people all throughout the event out at that lounge area, and that's the one place where honestly I don't think we will bother people.
All right, let's take a vote tonight and then take a vote next week if we should do Saturday 2 reunion shows, Friday and Saturday night. So everybody can at least see what's going on
next week,
and maybe do it at a different hour so people can watch the reunion live, like the pool party or something like that.
Well, what I'm thinking is we can do almost like maybe just a quick 30, 45-minute reunion coverage show.
Mm-hmm.
And film stuff on Saturday, the pool party, a couple other things, and maybe people can throw in some footage of the golf tournament on Friday.
I think that'll work.
Outbreak celebration of life, and we can do that. So, it's just there's not a lot going on Friday night during showtime, and the restaurants they'll give us a hard time there. So we're gonna end up being somewhere where there's not a lot of people, and
Willie's thinking.
Yeah, wheels are turning.
Let's keep thinking. Look at that clock. 42.
In there if you want, guys. Give us an idea there. But let's see here. Yeah, Ricky's like a clock watcher now. But we put that bochinche on, and he'll go for 4 hours and not even bother with that clock. Alarms going on.
Guess what's next? Guess what's
he's still going, man.
Guess which segment is next? Elbow teaches. So vamos. We got our notes
exactly
here.
What it is. Poor guy's been chomping at the bit for that.
Oh, we got good
another
stuff.
Soccer reunion year. FIFA Club Quarter World Finals. Okay, yeah, maybe that might be doable. Is Panama playing though? If Panama's not playing, then forget about it.
I think they're in the quarters.
But this is that Club World Cup. If it's that Club World Cup, they don't have any teams in there.
Auto, right? The Auto tournament's on
the
right
Gold
now.
Cup, that's a different one. But Panama's been doing really well, man. Hence Maria Roja right here.
Hey, they're now compared to United States, Mexico. They're not compared like before, like Trinidad and Tobago, and Belize. No, they're the big leagues now.
Contender to win the group, man. They really are being looked at that way. They've got a great team, man. Really good job.
They played, I think, the Dominican Republic or Guatemala or something, 4-1.
Yeah,
with the B team. So those guys are, and then they got a bunch of young kids coming up. Panama's just like the happening place, worldwide. And there's like
really gone in sports, man. Just
in sports, soccer especially. There's a famous German soccer player that's retired now, and his son is like up and coming, playing all the European leagues. Their mom is from Panama. He's now going to be joining the Panama team. First, he's going to go to get Sub 20 and then do the jump. So we're gonna have another one of those Carrasquilla kid on the club pretty soon.
That's awesome.
And there's a couple that are also doing young kids. They're also doing very well.
The Panama
in Argentina.
soccer program has really.
I think it's either River Plate or the other big one there. Boca's has a Panamanian killing it. Young kid.
Yeah. And that's quite a club. Let me tell you, man. Boca Junior is they're an amazing club, man. So that's good stuff, But anyhow, let's put a smile on Ricky's face here and play a tune here that he loves ever so much. So we can all of us stop talking and let Ricky
Hey, we used to do bochinche every week. Now we're like once every 4 weeks.
Listen, in all fairness, Ricky's been great about this, because we did talk about it, and it was one of those that, because we'll get some good bochinche here and there, but nonetheless, good job on that, Ricky. But here you go, man. Have fun with this.
El bochinche. 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 El bochinche.
That's it. There you go.
That's all, man. You did a good. Oh, did you find that song, or was that one of the David songs?
No, that's an old salsa song from back in the day.
I love it. All right, man. So we're gonna do social, political, our mayor, U.S. Panama relations. Like the U.S. Embassy likes to say, "Estamos unidos."
Right.
All right. So on the social scene, guys, there's been a lot of promoting Panama, and I don't know if any of you guys have been out to the De Camarón Hotel, but it's an all-inclusive hotel, and I believe it's in Santa Clara. So anybody out there knows exactly where it is. The thing is, they have been awarded this rating, very important rating called EcoStar. So now they're an EcoStar hotel, and that just means they take care of the environment. Security is very big, so there's a lot of good things that come with having that rating. So guys, De Camarón, I don't know how good it is, but it's being promoted as a all-inclusive top hotel. And speaking of social and traveling, listen to this. If you have a Panamanian passport, okay, especially the guys coming, my age group that we're all getting into that retirement age. If you have a Panamanian passport, there are 90 countries that you don't need a visa to go to. 90. You can, you're Panamanian, boop, come on right on in. Okay. Now, 90 is a lot, and I think the whole European Union's included in there, by the way. Mexico, Argentina, Chile, Colombia, they're all 90. Sure. It's one of the better passports to have. Yeah, so right on for Panama on that. Now we're getting close for us to be in the U.S. to have no visa as well, and that's going to be really great when that comes. And speaking of Panama and outside of Panama, there's a new. The food trucks, how there was all tacos and stuff like that. Well, now there's a big thing on Panamanian food trucks, There's this big thing on promoting patacones, right? That's like the Panamanian food, and I don't know if Willie, we were able to download that, but there's a big promotional thing going on with Panamanian food and patacones and food trucks. Now over here in the West Coast, LA I know has Panamanian food trucks, and Santa Cruz up here in Northern Cal where we are. So that's a new thing, guys. So look around, you might see Panamanian food trucks out there, and it's patacones, yuca, tamales, that kind of stuff. All right.
No, but you know what? I don't want to change the order, whatever you want to throw out there, but
no, we got any order you want. We got like 4 or 5 pages of stuff to go through.
Yeah, well, you threw one out there that was a really cool video that somebody threw out, and they had some eating on it and some. Speaking of the hot sauces and stuff, right?
Yeah, let's play that little video if you have it. Now we've promoted this guy because we like to promote people that promote the Canal Zone way of life. Right.
Sure.
And this guy does a lot with the Canal Zone, but he does a lot with Panama too, and the Panamanian culture. But he's actually from, if I remember right, the Netherlands. Yeah, I think that's where he's from, and he's doing a lot of videos on Panama because he just loves the culture.
Yeah, no doubt.
There's a lot of people we already know the railroad. He's Panamanian. We know the guys from Venezuela. Several of them. One does the Panama Canal, and
sure.
And the comparisons. Another guy does the architecture, And Willie, there's a new guy out there now that we're doing it while you're getting that thing set up called Ruta Bunkers Panama Canal, Pan Canal. Okay. This guy, what he's doing, he's going and he's filming all our, the military bunkers that we left behind. And he has thousands of followers, very, very, very popular. And all he does is talk about all the military bunkers that we left behind.
Yes, that's right. Very, very
Ruta
cool.
Bunkers Panama Canal. I see him on Instagram.
He needs to get together with Captain Andrew, who's got some stuff with the bunkers out there up in the
Yeah. No, I saw that Andrew and him texted back and forth on their account.
Nice. Well, here's that video of this guy. He's Arnaud
yeah.
Duquesne.
Yes.
You know, he's Belgian, isn't he?
I think Belgium, Netherlands, that area.
This is the president of Panama. It's called the Guayabera.
Nice.
This one's from Brisas, and they're handmade in Panama. If you organize a dinner, like a cena amena, make sure you invite everyone. We will see to see. Vamos a ver, pa ver. Genius. When you cross the bridge, you get to El West. You don't mess with people from the West. So the idea to find a girl, a yacht, who's a yeyecita in the streets, but a racataca in the sheets.
In Panama, they don't point to things.
This guy's
They do
in
like
Europe
this with their
doing
lips.
this.
Look at that. Hey, ¿dónde está? ¿Dónde fue? Allá.
You have to
There's
try
the
this.
patacones.
It has to be this brand.
There you go, guys. Panama all over the world.
There you go, guys.
Yeah, right on to our Panamanian jeans, man.
Yeah. Arnaud Duquesne. Look him up on Instagram. The guy's really
He does
funny,
great
very
stuff.
clever. Well done, man. Well
Yeah,
done.
yeah.
And that's another one. What he showed on there, guys, that was the Maggi ketchup. Because that ketchup has a distinct flavor, man.
Yeah,
Every time
real
someone comes
sweet,
up from
real
Panama,
sweet.
They bring in the Maggi ketchup. You're like, I'd have that. My kids, I can have to know. You use that Heinz.
Yeah,
You
you gotta
leave
use
it
everything
for
else,
that's
right,
fine.
right. Yeah, all my friends always bring me and Ronaldo, or family bring us one. We always have
sure.
one of those. Yeah, but yeah, guys, the new narrative on the Canal Zone, which is something I'm going to get into right now, very important. Their narrative into the new narrative of the Canal Zone. It's not like before. Like before, you would hear things like, "There is an urgency to save our past,"
Right?
No. Or the Canal Zone is gone. No. Or we have to save our, that kind of stuff. That's just not the narrative, guys. It's just, it's not at all. In fact, if we ever hear anybody say Paradise Lost, that is now banned. If we're banning books, we're banning this, we're banning that, we're banning Paradise Lost. The Canal Zone, guys, we are here. Okay, we're talking 3 reunions a year. The University of Florida collection of all our artifacts. Shorty and Slim talking about us. This podcast over a year talking about nothing but the Canal Zone. I mean, there's endless bloggers out there, from the railroad, like I mentioned earlier, to the bunker. I mean, guys, we are here. Who we are today, we're here to celebrate our past. Not urgency, not it's got no. We're here to celebrate, guys, and it's happening. The Canal Zone is alive, right? Our motto: making history and preserving it at the same time.
Yeah, no doubt,
guys. No doubt, man. No doubt. So, none of this. It's gone. Where it's going to. No. It's alive and it's kicking. Oh, so there's a song that goes something like that. Well, the Zonian culture, guys, is here to stay. Now, what is the Zonian culture, right? So I like to hear your comments on what you guys think the Zonian culture is. But for some people in Panama, for example, this La Prensa guy went out there and he did some research on the Zonian community. Now he went and he actually calls us the Lost Tribe of Panama. And one of the things he did was he went to all 3 reunions. He went to the I guess the Paraíso reunion, which we don't know very much of, and we would like to get information. So anybody out there knows when, where, let us know. And then they went to the Orlando reunion, and he also went to the Panama reunion. So he got a good deal with the Canal Zone. And one of the things that he was taken by was A, called us the Lost Tribe of Panama. B, that we are a Panamanian subculture. Now, what that article meant by that? The Zonian culture is so ingrained in the Panamanian culture, just like the Chinese culture, the Indian, the Afro-Antillean, Italian, Spanish, Middle Eastern. But in Panama, everybody in Panama is more Zonian than any other of those cultures. Why?
Correct.
Now, this might bother some people, but why? And I stand behind this. Because we formed this country called Panama. I know my family's going to kill me. We are the architects of this nation. Okay, that's Zonian culture. That's who we are. So, guys, remember, we are not dead. We are alive, and we are kicking. Now, let me give you some more examples. In Panama, there are streets named after famous Americans, right? Roosevelt, etc. They still do. They do Halloween. They do Thanksgiving. They celebrate, and I mean they celebrate 4th of July. Okay, they really do this. Now, they still do tree burns in Panama, hasher runs, cayuco races. This is Panamanian culture, guys. 53 years of American football. That's the one I'm most proud of. And that's the Zonian way. Now, guys, even our military bases, even though they try to change the names, they still have the same names: Albrook, Howard, Clayton, Sherman. They're still the same. So, guys, that's who we are, and we're gonna just continue to promote it. But more than anything, Willie, sorry to get on this rant, is we're here to correct a lot of the narratives that are out there about the Zonian community and the Zonian way of life and who we are and what we've meant.
Yeah,
to
we
the country.
had a tremendous influence on that country.
Tremendous.
Yeah.
I mean, prove me wrong that we're not the architects of the nation. With that canal, building that canal. Right. All right, let's move on. Let's move on before I start getting texts from from the guy. Well, anyways, on sports, this is straight from our last remaining Zonian in Panama, JC Sports. He sent me a little interview with Mike Tyson, and they were asking Mike Tyson, "Hey, Mike, where'd you get your influence from? Who was your, who inspired you, et cetera, et cetera." And everybody thought he was going to say Muhammad Ali. Right, because most of the champions do, right? But he didn't. He did not say that at all. He actually said Roberto Duran is his inspiration, is everything. He admires Roberto Duran, and the reason why is because Roberto fought like him. Ali was very intelligent. He spoke well. He was political. He etc. Where Roberto was from the streets, so he spoke Mike's language. So something that we should be very proud of from our Panamanian culture is Roberto Duran being such a influence in the boxing world.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And it's interesting when you talk about Duran and hold on, what's going on here? It's
but this week we got a little bit of Duran history as well. As Willie looks for that, something that happened today back in 19, I believe.
Yeah, absolutely. It's in fact, let me go ahead and throw that on here real quick. So see if you guys recognize the voice on here. Here it is. And oops, let me get the volume up. Sorry.
Airport in Midtown. Roberto emerging, wearing the familiar cap and showing the crowd his WBC welterweight championship belt. The fight is history now, and Roberto has already been called, and he went back to Panama City. Huge crowds at the private airport in Midtown. Roberto emerging, wearing the familiar cap and showing the crowd his WBC welterweight championship.
Yeah, so that was Roberto Duran after the
Leonard fight.
Sugar Ray Leonard, and that was one of several fights because those guys had some absolutely classic.
Iconic fights. Another thing coming out of JC Sports, guys. Here's a little question for you guys. Who was the first Panamanian to pitch in the World Series and win?
Oh, look at that. First Panamanian to pitch in the World Series.
I'll give you a hint. He played for the Yankees.
Oh, so I was going to get it wrong then. That would be first Panamanian to pitch in a World Series. Well, I mean, it'd have to be Mariano.
That's what everybody would say, but it's actually in 1961. Hector Lopez played for the Yankees. And not only did he win the first game, but he was the first Panamanian to hit a home run in the World Series. So not only did
Get out of here.
Yeah,
so the guy hit a home run.
on the first game for the Yankees, 1961. Wow. Hector Lopez. So right on, Hector. Thank you so much.
Salute to that.
And to JC Sports for that information. We try to get him on a show, but this guy's gotten so big. he is so busy now. He's always with celebrities now and stuff. So he at least will sent me a couple things that he thinks will be good for the show. And those two were phenomenal. Thank you very much, JC Sports, man.
No, for sure. Good stuff there. Thank you, JC. Yeah, he is busy on Friday nights. Friday night's a big sports night. So
yeah, big sports night. Yeah.
He's in demand. Good for him.
Yeah. So, guys, on the Panama Canal reunion side, the bochincha there is that this weekend in Southern California is the picnic.
Yeah.
So don't forget if you're in that area. But if you're not and you're in Panama, you want to go straight to San Diego. Well, Copa Airlines is now flying direct to San Diego.
How about that, huh?
That's really awesome. But let me tell you, San Francisco has like 2 or 3 flights every day. Now, I've been on those flights, and when we land in Panama, like 2 people get off. That's it. Those flights continue. Those people are continue to go. So it's not like a lot of Panamanians that are taking advantage of those flights. They're mostly Ecuadorians and such.
Yeah.
But I remember when I was going to Panama a lot in 21 and 22. Yeah, I remember like, oh man, that's it. Like 2 or 3 of us that would get up and get out of the plane. So, anyways, the guys Copa is now flying.
When I worked for Copa, we had 1 airplane, right? And then at one we ended up with 2 planes, but that was it, they worked that plane. That plane rarely sat on the ground. It was just, but then again, it's the old saying in the airline business: when you're on the ground, you're losing money. When you're making money when you're flying.
Look at that, from 1 to what they are now. And something else, Willie, 10 years in a row, they always win that on time award.
Yes, they have made it a point to do that, and they Panama was always known as a transit hub, but it was always the focus on the ocean and the canal. Mm-hmm. I mean, from the Spaniards and Las Cruces Trail, it was always the ocean. But now, you can get from pretty much any point anywhere in the Western Hemisphere, any major point, to anywhere else with 1 connection.
Yep.
And that's through the city of Panama. Because you can go from Canada to somewhere in Colombia, 1 flight from Montreal to Panama, Panama to Bogota.
Correct.
It's the only place you can do that. It really is the hub of the Americas now for flying. It's incredible.
Now, and this goes right into my next one. My next bochinche, our favorite president, Mulino, met last week. 35 U.S. company CEOs came to be. And why? Because the United States, again, win-win, Estados Unidos, want to convert Panama into and we've been hearing this forever, into a logistic hub.
Yeah.
All right. Panama, because Panama has 3 pillars that convert it into a logistics hub that the United States is promoting with 35 CEOs, including Amazon's and a bunch of semiconductor companies.
Yeah.
Now, what are the 3 pillars, Willie? First, infrastructure. Panama already has all the ports, airports, free zones, banking, our roads, our railroads. Panama has it all. Yeah. Infrastructure, talent. Why? Because all that infrastructure I just mentioned is manned by Panamanians. And let me tell you,
you had 100 years of United States there almost. So the influence is there. It's a highly educated population in Panama.
And a very talented workforce. And not only that, Willie, is they don't have a problem replacing, the like one group retires, a next group comes in, right?
Correct.
None. So infrastructure, talent, and of course the Panama Canal. Those 3 pillars is what constitutes Panama being the logistic hub that they're all promoting.
Yeah. And
so
again,
estamos unidos. Goodbye. Anybody that talked bad about our relationship.
That's very clever. You switched the D for the M, and that's a very, very clever statement. Estamos.
Oh, no. That's how the embassy in Panama promotes the embassy.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I like it. That was clever. I thought that was clever too. Estamos unidos. And we've always been talking about, our brotherhood from the first podcast we ever did. Yeah. All right, guys. So I already told you that the canal's 9 years old today. So happy birthday to Coakley and Agua Clara. We got that going on. Listen, speaking of politicians, we like to always mention our favorite mayor, guys. This Panamanian mayor is amazing, and I wish everybody gives him all the support he deserves. But this guy, and speaking of the U.S. Embassy, we had a Zonian called Richard Cahill, right? Came on and he did he has an Instagram on fishing.
Yeah.
company on fishing. Well, and then he started promoting, not promoting, but he started, bringing to everybody's awareness that the French cemetery was in horrible conditions, horrible. And we saw the
Yeah, I
videos. It
remember
was
that.
sad, what we were looking at. And like, why don't I do this? Why don't I do this? Well, Meyer, Richard Cahill, the Junta Comunal,
Mm-hmm.
and the French embassy got together, and they're starting to clean it out. They're going to bring it back to its prominence and where it belongs, because those men died building that canal. So that is a great news that Meyer's doing. And now Meyer, of course, I love the kid. One of the things, if you can believe, this has never happened in Panama.
Right.
He is having the first job fair ever in Panama, promoting it. Now the city of Panama is promoting it, and he has brought in all the private companies to have this fair. So this is happening this weekend, where he's putting together this workforce that we've mentioned with the private sector, and gonna get all these people employed. He's doing everything he can, to as a mayor, because remember, they're limited. They're basically landscape architects.
Correct.
So he changed through technology, getting permits out there. So he was able to get something like 24 million, or I could be wrong. It probably is 240 million, which makes more sense. But I could be wrong. It was either 24 or 240 million dollars worth of construction projects started because of the new the new system he has on approving permits. So he's moving the economy. He's putting all these dots together, and he's doing a great thing for Panama. And that's I just love talking about that guy, because it's just really win-win. Now, another win-win coming out of the embassy. Sorry, Willie, if I'm just jumping back and forth. I get so excited with all this
Dude,
great
you're in hog heaven,
news.
man. I ain't stopping you, brother.
It's just such great news that you don't hear on the, because you always hear the bad stuff, right? But you never hear the good stuff. You got to come here for the good stuff.
Yeah,
one of the things that a lot of the Zonian buddies of ours that had been reaching out to us to make sure that we talk about it, because it bothers them, is fishing. The Zonians have always been huge into fishing, and there's a lot of Zonians out there with fishing companies. And one of the things that they've complained to me is that there's no more fish. The fish are gone. I mean, of course there's fish, but compared to what it was before. And that's because Panama had no way to patrol all that fishing going on out there 200 miles away, right? Well, with international help as well, I can't just say it's U.S. help. With international help and U.S. help, Panama now it's starting to get the capacity in equipment and funding to protect their fishing, their 200 economic zone. So,
and what we're talking about is these Chinese fishing fleets, guys, that are hundreds of ships, and they bring their own processing ship, and they will pull into an area right outside your international waters. Just about, of course, they will incur them as well, but it's not like a fish says, "Hey, let me stop at this line here." Right. And so, and in a matter of weeks or months, they just absolutely devastate your entire fisheries, and they move to somewhere else, and they just unchallenged in most of the world.
Unchallenged. And Panama was one of those countries, and they corrected that, so cheers to that, man, guys. So yeah, the country is moving in the direction that we all love. Look, listen, one more last thing on Meyer. Now, I know this is probably common, but for Panama, guys, this is news. So he has this new program where if you're an inmate, you can reduce your time by puting in a community service. And he's promoting it, and he's out there, and I mean, they're cleaning up mostly they cut down the sawgrass all over the place. Yeah. And I was watching one of his videos. I like to watch his videos. So, this program is working so well, and the inmates are totally into it, because they're dressed in blue and stuff. I saw him go to one. He gets out of his car. He goes out there, and these guys were like, "We're from Metro. Like they were proud of what prisons they were coming from. We're from La Jolla. We're gonna clean this area. We're from." And I'm like, look at this guy. He even gets prisoners
pride in the city.
Yeah, to have that. When have you seen people cleaning the roads? When if you get not that happened to me, but I'm sure having a lot of other people that if you didn't pay a ticket or something, you're out there cleaning the streets. When have you see those guys rah?
That's what I'm saying. With this pride and appreciation and wanting to give something back. In other words, and happy to do that.
Yeah, and so I saw him do that, and that was awesome.
Nice.
And of course,
and
there's
speaking of Metro, real quick, Panama Metro champions, baseball champions. Again.
Oh, they were right on. Yeah,
my nephew played for them. So Joel.
Oh, good. Yeah. Well, we like when Panama Metro wins. In that, they normally don't. They used to always win, but they're not really. They get beat by Cherokee and Los Santos and those guys.
Panama in the interior, man, they play some ball, man.
They play some good ball out there.
Rudy Waller's working on getting the El Valle folks to start playing some ball like that as well. He's done a
he's doing a good job with the little leaguers, that's for sure.
So he's bringing baseball down there, and so it'll be only a matter of time. They're a few years away from bringing one of those guys to start playing ball. And hey, maybe he learned from Rudy. Another Zonian that gives somebody a legacy. But hey, real quick, and we'll say hi to Leaf real fast in his never-ending Canal Zone vacation that he's on here. He's at the Balboa, the Canal House, Balboa Yacht Club.
The Canal House, yes, that's what it's called now.
Hey, well, we will be there somewhere around there in January. Doing the Friday night show there live for that reunion, but we'll talk about that after next week because that's an older one there. But real quick, guys, I meant to pull this up earlier, and I just found it now while we were doing all our stuff here. So again, going back to the reunion next week, the Cicero celebration of life. It's on Friday, the 4th of July, from 4 to 5:30 p.m. Okay, it's at Suwannee 1821. One of the ballrooms down is, I believe it's on the other side of the hotel, where the class reunions are. I'll double check that. But there's a cash bar and there's some light hors d'oeuvres available. So if you have any questions, reach out to any of the Cicero brothers and they'll be happy to answer it for you. But if you can stop by and help us celebrate.
Yeah, I got an observation before you get off here. Listen, guys, all you guys that know the Ciceros, tell me when you look at their parents, you don't see all four of their sons. You can totally see all four of their sons by looking at their parents right there. Yeah. Right on, Ciceros.
Yeah, so good stuff. Looking forward to seeing them all there on that reunion on Friday night. So don't miss it, guys. Friday from 4 to 5:30 p.m. at Suwannee 1821. So definitely swing by there and say hello to them. But anyway, back to you, Ricky.
Back to our we got social bochincha. I like, we almost every time we do bochincha, I always talk about a Panamanian that's, winning an award, whether it's through film, music. Yeah. Well, we have one here for a landscape architect, Fernando Wong, in the prestigious Royal Horticulture Society, was awarded their 5-star rating for his design work that he did at the Chelsea Flower Show in England. And he got,
right on.
He got recognized as one of the top designers in Europe. Panamanian Fernando Wong. Right on, man.
Right on. Hey, Marion, how are you?
Fernando. Now let's get back to some good U.S. Panama relations. Willie, we recently had Hospitable Comfort come to do a port call and come to into the Panama, which they do every year.
Yeah,
but we have a new ambassador, a young guy, and him and Meyer recently got together and they hung out. And this boat always comes every year, right? And they provide surgeries, dentistry, eye doctors, right? Sure. Pediatrics, etc.
Because it's a full hospital, guys. It's a full hospital. It's a full hospital center, everything. It's amazing.
Yeah. So Meyer meets with the ambassador like last week, and we reported about it. They got together, and all of a sudden, I'm sure Meyer had a lot of everything to do with this. The embassy and got the veterinarians in the hospital to come to Panama and provide a neutering, spading campaign. Sterilization of all the animals you wanted to bring in. And hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people brought their pets to get a free sterilization in Panama. Great. So it was a great activity that Meyer and the ambassador put together. I knew they would because they're both young, know, and they both kind of seem like they'd be going to do good things for Panama.
Yeah, I know. Indeed.
So that's what that last port call was, which brings us to a all the things that are going on in Panama. Like I said, there's like 4 major projects going on
Well,
in Panama.
and speaking of those ports, wasn't there an interesting sighting recently?
Well, how did we not talk about that from the beginning? Guys, we've got some breaking news for you. We sure do. Listen to this. So we're just looking around, and Louis find this camera and look at what we
is
see
that?
out there.
What do we
Is
see
that not a U.S. submarine cruising through the Panama
Sure
Canal?
is. Look at it right there, man. Yeah.
Now, we got some bochinche from one of our line handlers.
And it wasn't Jim Duffus in the class of 73.
And it wasn't
by the
Jim
way-
Duffus. I'm sure it was one of his apprentices. No,
Yeah,
just
it
kidding,
wasn't
Jim.
him. And by the way, the class of 73 is celebrating 70-year birthdays at the reunion. So
70-year birthday.
But it wasn't
But-
him that threw this bochinche out.
Yeah, well, we got a little something bochinche breaking news that the submarine touched port quarter in the locks. Now I had to ask all my shipping buddies, what the heck does that mean in Beto language? And that is, it touched the rear left side, or it graced it a little bit. So we got to find out who that captain it was, and if it was our Canal's own captain, we're gonna have to hit him upside the head for rubbing that submarine up against the walls there. Now, Willie, we don't even know. Do Canal's own? No, I check every vehicle that goes through. Vehicle, I don't think you call ships vehicle, but every ship that goes through has to have a Canal's own pilot. So
Yes, Captain Eftimitis has been on submarines and transited them before.
Oh, no
Absolutely.
shit, right on.
Yes, 100%.
Well, guys, we had one. They did a little bit of a port quarter in the locks. I don't know if we were so allowed to say that, but I couldn't keep my mouth shut. I think I promised people I wouldn't have mentioned that bochinche, but we're not going to tell you where it came from. But anyways, they're on their way. They're on their way. They didn't
double for this information.
Yeah, they're on their way. They're not going to do a port call. They're going to, if there's any repairs, they'll do it elsewhere.
They're like, let's get the hell out of here, man.
Yeah, we don't want. Yeah.
Dude, man, we messaged. Let's get the hell out of here, man.
Look at all these cameras, Chinese cameras. No, kidding. We're not gonna go there. But this brings us to, speaking of ports, guys. This brings us to the next change that's gonna be coming out of Panama. Now, this is obviously everything we talk about is open source, so don't think that we're getting any kind of special intel. But there's a big corruption thing coming out. And speaking of ports, on another port on the Atlantic side, maybe Willie can bust out the map. But there's a Manzanillo port in Isla Margarita. You guys remember? We're going to show you. It's that one spot in the up in the north, I guess, northwest.
Yeah, so here, give you perspective right here of where it is,
yeah,
around everything else. So it's at the end of Cocosolo, just north of
yeah. If you were here last week, you guys kind of know the Atlantic side map.
Yeah.
Right. And there was Fort what's it? Not Sherman, Randolph, Fort Randolph.
Yes, absolutely. Right. There you go. Fort Randolph, which Vern Couturier, our Atlantic side correspondent, showed us his area.
He did a great
said
job.
He used to love hanging out there when he was in high school and stuff.
Yeah. He mentioned that split on the road. Well, right there, guy, there's a huge port project that was awarded a long time ago to a Chinese.
There it is.
To a Chinese. There it is, guys. See the port there, the bottom left. Company PCCP, who they're also known as Land Bridge Group, and they ran a port in Australia, but of course they got kicked out of there as well. Well, anyway, so these guys started the work. They ran out of money. One guy ran out of money. The other guy disappeared. That ended up in court, and the Panamanian Port Authority then gave the concession to MSC, which is that Mediterranean shipping company. But they really weren't able to develop it because the other group had the concession originally, and then this other group got it, and the MSC wasn't able to do anything with it. Well, anyway, so PCCP comes back and they say, hey, we want our concession back, right? But they've already faulted and it's already been given to somebody else. But all out of nowhere, this last minute administration did a little addendum, little change order to the contract, and gave it back to the original Chinese company, PCCP. So, of course, our new beloved President Molino and his comptroller, how are they controlling all this port corruption? Auditing.
Love it.
So they did an audit of these people, and boy, oh boy, are some ex-presidents, not with the last name Royal, are in big trouble in Panama when this bochinche comes out. So keep an eye on that. You know, you guys, we already heard about all the, you know, the Chinese ports on either side and how that's being bought out. Well, the next big port bochinche tied to China, it's that one that you're going to be hearing about it. Now, another bochinche, and this is important because, you know, it's important that we talk about this, Willie, is, you know, the two guys that ran for the presidency last year in Panama, Torrijos and Lambada. Okay, recently they got their visas taken away.
Torrijos is the son of Omar Torrijos,
who was a president of Panama.
Yeah, he was president of Panama at one point.
And he actually did a good job. He wasn't really that bad, but he was young. And some of the Zonians that we grew up with went to college when he was there. And, you know, he wasn't the smartest student. But anyways, Martin became president. And then, and, you know, so we all know the Martin story. But he lost his visa. And I want to talk about this. And the reason why, because it's important that a royal tells a Torrijos why you lost your visa. So we always talk about, you know, there's been this big talking about this, you know, this mutual agreement, right? And everybody's going crazy and they're, you know, rioting and all this sovereignty, losing sovereignty. Well, anyway, so you know, Torrijos has been on top of that. So he lost his visa. No, why did he lose his visa? Okay, I mentioned to Willie. I go, Willie, you know when the first mutual agreement was signed? No, Ricky, when 1850. Why 1850? Because Colombia and the United States signed what's it called? What is that agreement called? Mutual agreement. Let's just call it mutual agreement for now. I think we all know what we're talking about. They signed a mutual agreement for the United States to protect the railroad. So since 1850, okay, they've been doing these mutual agreements, right, with the U.S. Not only that, when Panama became sovereign, you know, from the Colombians.
Yeah.
Okay, we all know from David Dahlstrom and all that, you know, the U.S. Navy blocked the Colombian Navy on the Atlantic side, and the railroad didn't help out to get all the people. But nobody talks about what happened in the Pacific side. Now, remember, there were plenty Colombian troops on the Pacific side. Sure. The year before, they killed the famous Victoriano Lorenzo. I mean, they didn't kill him, but they executed him. Yeah. So, I mean, there was a big military presence, Colombian military presence, but nobody talks about that. Everybody talks about the Atlantic side. So what happened on the Pacific side? Well, the troops that had this mutual agreement with Colombia were already there. Right. So what did they do? They just flipped side and kept everything peaceful and in Panama so that they can have a country. So what does that mean? That a mutual agreement for the safeguard of Panama is exactly that. So for a ex-president to not know that history and then being out there and saying, oh, you know, they're stealing this, or in other words, all BS. Right. Of course you're going to lose your visa to the United States, Martin. So sorry if I had to say that, but I had to say it.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Well, but it's true.
Next time, don't lie.
I mean, and consequences, you know, you ain't coming back to the United States anytime soon.
Yeah, no more. And that's too bad, guys. Well, anyways, that's our bochinche for the day, for the week, for the month. I hope you enjoyed it. I definitely enjoy informing you guys of everything that's going on.
Some good stuff on there, you know, interesting stuff. And it was cool to see that submarine and Andrew chimed in and said it wasn't him that wrecked that submarine. Okay, good, right on. Appreciate that. So I'll look at Robertson. Hey, how you doing, Robert?
Hey, right on, Robert Joyce.
Yes, happy Friday. Excellent. Man, everybody tunes in tonight, man. But yeah, no, that was good stuff, Ricky. A lot of good stuff there. A lot going on. Chrissy Noem, you know, was down there just a couple of days ago.
Correct.
So there's a lot more negotiating going on between Panama and the United States. It is amazing to see the paradigm shift in Panama-U.S. relations in just a matter of months that have happened, you know, with the new administration and what we thought were bombastic statements back in December has turned into a whole new reset in the relationships there. And you don't even hear about China anymore. You know, I mean, they're certainly still there, probably, you know, kicking and scratching, but they know it's a lost cause. And everything here, including what you just mentioned with those audits coming up here, that's going to open up more of that conversation when you start finding out that these concessions were made with with that money that came from this country that we now have learned, not just in Panama, but throughout the world, and Latin America has some not so nice plans, right? And they involve being so friendly to you and just dangling all kinds of money in front of you and then taking over your stuff. And now, of course, that's changed. So it's just really interesting to see how much that really has changed over such a short period of time. And it's not done yet, but more
But
to come
I
on that.
enjoyed it. I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
So, guys, thank you for putting up my bochincha. Now
Yeah,
we're gonna.
but let's we've talked about the birthday of the new the Canal locks. Let's talk about our other birthdays here because we got our list of birthdays.
We got a list of birthday. We got a good list tonight too. Not as
Sure.
big as last week.
No, but it's
we
there's
still
some cool
got a
cats
lot of
on
good
there.
birthdays to celebrate tonight. And remember, you're celebrating it with the Panama Canal. I mean, the third set of locks and the Panama Canal.
Yeah, right.
Said the Panama Canal.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, let's start with Jeanette Harrington out of Diablo, class of '82. She's actually a fire captain down there in Miami, and she does a lot with fundraising for very good cause. So happy birthday to you, Miss Jeanette Harrington. Very good friend. Bill King, happy birthday. Rick Deakins, that's a Balboa Ram there.
Yeah.
Karen Campbell, happy birthday. Kurt Weiss, the helicopter rescue guy,
yeah.
He was there for the
Operation Just
invasion.
Cause.
Yeah, the Delta Force went under and got him. Kurt Weiss, happy
Sure
birthday
did.
to you guys. Much appreciated for all the stuff you did. I've seen that documentary.
Yeah.
Scott Bogue.
Scott Bogue.
Bogue.
Class of 85.
Class of 85.
Yep.
Peter Cantors.
Yep. Class of 86. One of my classmates. Yeah, happy birthday, Peter.
Kathy Craig Scherer.
Yep. Scherer.
Debbie Vinton. Happy birthday.
86. Happy birthday, Debbie.
Monica Wedgeworth Patrick. Happy birthday. Nolan. Oh my God, I didn't write his last name. But
no, it's Patrick Nolan. That was the other one. You I think that might have been me when I sent you the list. So
it was
Monica
Patrick
Wedgeworth
Nolan.
Patrick Nolan. Yes, correct.
Got you, brother. Got you. Kathleen Stewart. Happy birthday.
Class of
Bruce
87,
Bateman. He's got a good documentary on there on the Canal Zone. Very passionate when he talks about the Canal Zone.
Well, and remember, Bruce Bateman also has the Zonian Life. That's the website those guys run.
Oh, they're the OGs.
All that fan, they are the OGs of the
Canal Zone apparel,
social media Canal Zone, and the apparel for sure. They've got a great selection. Balboa High School, Cristobal High School, Corundu, Pan Canal College, you name it, amongst other things. That's just their sports stuff. They got some really cool other Canal Zone, stuff, for lack of a better term. But check them out, Zonian Life, and happy birthday, Bruce.
Yeah, and then Bruce Bateman also, again, look him up on YouTube. He has an incredible description of what it is to be a Zonian, and very, very passionate. I mean, I saw it, and I liked it a lot. Very.
And the interesting thing about Bruce, he came from a military family. They were in Albrook.
Right on.
Yeah, and they really embraced the Zonian culture and have certainly been a great contributor to it. So
absolutely.
Yeah.
Jeanette Aker, happy birthday, Jeanette. Maribel Corco, I remember her, class of '82. Happy birthday. And we have here Casey Perry Burns.
Yeah, I'm not sure which one it is. It's Casey and Penny Burns. So I'm not sure which one it is, but either way, happy birthday.
Happy birthday. Mike Laverty, a fellow architect.
Mike,
out of Balboa Heights, another Balboa Ram. Happy birthday. Yeah, and last but not least, Willie, take it away.
Yeah, and my niece from Costa Rica, actually, Monica Hernandez, feliz cumpleaños, but happy birthday to you, and happy birthday to the new set of locks, and then along with, of course, anybody that we don't mention. We don't.
No, we still got a couple more. We got the class of '81.
I'm
so kind of doing letting them.
Apparently, there's a bit of a confusion there.
No, I'm letting the other guys go first now. You gave me one whole year celebrating my 81s first. Thomas Milford out of Alabama and all the honor societies. And the guy liked me. I was one of his best friends. I was one of the smartest guys in school. Right on. Pilar Small, Zonian out of Ancon or Balboa Heights, one of the two. Happy birthday to you, Pilar. And to the great McGee family, Linda McGee.
Yes, absolutely.
Happy birthday. Her birthday's in a couple of days, the 30th, but we're not going to get her till I don't want to celebrate her after. I want to celebrate her before. Because you know what? Actually, my mom bought the McGee's house in Los Rios So when the McGee's moved out, we moved in, and it was a great house.
Yeah,
great,
right on.
Backyard. I think it was the biggest backyard in Los Rios because it went all the way out to that little playground out there, and they had it already. I think my mom got it fenced in.
Sure.
But anyway, so living there was pretty cool, Willie, because Los Rios. I remember I'd come home, hang out with my mom, and breakfast out in the back patio. Man, you would see a zoo of animals cruise through. A zoo. I mean, all the animals you can think of, the birds, all. It was like an amazing show of how many animals just walked by your house in Los Rios.
Right. Remember that?
Yeah, unbelievable. So it was beautiful. Everybody lived in Los Rios. You guys know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Balboa, we didn't have that. We got the deers that would come out every once in a while, and of course all the bats that would go down to El Prado. But other than that, we didn't see any animals. Oh yeah, ñeques. We saw a lot of ñeques.
Yeah, I believe so. You're right. I think so.
We saw ñeques. Now ñeques is not a rat. Ñeques is actually like those Australian animals. Does anybody know exactly what a ñeque is? What families? It's like half rabbit, half something else, but it's not rodent. We always thought it was a rodent, and he's not. Persucio or something like that. What is the name of it? Yeah, marsupial. Yeah.
Okay. Right on.
Yeah. All right, man. Well, more Panama facts. Well, we're gonna do the birthday song.
Well, I thought you had like
that was it. My 3 Balboa High School, but wait. Last one before you go there, and this one is actually because we are celebrating life of 3 people. My left tackle on my football team, he passed. Thomas Ramirez. I know you guys have to remember him. Well, he has now passed, and just wanted to mention that. And Tom, we'll see you when we get up there, brother.
Yep. See you on the other side, brother.
See you on the other side. Thanks for protecting that left side of mine.
Yeah. No,
appreciate that.
Yeah. So, well, let me see something here. Yep. There we go. Happy birthday. Anybody that we missed, apologies, but happy birthday to all of you guys. Frank, good to see you. Absolutely.
Oh, Mr. Dupree, right on. Yes, we're having fun with this show. We love the when Willie and I just come up here and give you guys all the facts.
It is. It is.
But Frank's a Tina Carroll with us, so he knows all the political research we do. Guys, I always mention on this show, we do have a think tank, which are now called los Tinaqueros. And I'm telling you, we review easily 40, 50, at least between 30 and 40 articles a week. And I'm talking about 12 of us, 14 of us go over each one, make sure that we get the facts. Of course, I'm always the one that needs to be corrected. But yeah, thank you very much to all you Tina Caros out there. You really helped this show.
Tinaqueros. There you go. That's what it is, man.
Tink tankers, right? Tink tank Tinaqueros. Sounds the same to me.
My brother used to call them Tinakers.
Tinakers, right? Tinakers.
But no, it's cool. Again, guys, get ready for the reunion. Countdown is coming on for the reunion. It's only a week away.
Only a week away. And what's next?
Before, we've hit that hour and a half mark anyway. But let's talk about a little bit again, some reunion plans, and give us some feedback, guys. If you're going to be there next week, what do? Do we do a Friday night show and then a Saturday night? Just let
us know your thoughts.
Just a reunion report, or do we do the show just on Friday night like we normally do, or do we do it on Saturday night and just do the show on Saturday night? What we're thinking is that Friday night during broadcast hours, there's really not anything going on at the reunion per se. People are out to dinner, maybe showering and getting ready for the evening. So it wouldn't, have that kind of setup. The only place that would work would be in those bars and restaurants. And as we experienced last year, that's a go no go.
So no go. Well, they were saying that they don't want other people that are staying there, be part of the like get filmed or something.
Well, I can understand. I can respect.
Yeah, we can understand that. Yeah. Well, what we were going to do next, I don't know if Willie still wants to do it, but I really do believe. I mean, I'm sure people will hang around to do it. If not, is what happened on this day in history of Panama. And yeah, I want to do a quick on that, guys.
Yeah, no, absolutely. You know, I mean, we have time. Hey, what do we got here? I don't have to go to work or anything
All
tomorrow.
right, cool.
So, but yeah, let's kick it off with our. You know, we haven't done this in a while. Actually, our Made in Panama and
Made in
go back to
Panama.
some fun
Guys.
stuff there because there is some cool things we have queued up. So yeah, why not? Let's go ahead and do that, man.
Chiriquí, Chorrera y Chitré. Si no hay un lugar que quiero volver, siempre será Panamá. Panameña, 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 vida mía. Yo quiero que tú me lleves. El que parpadea pierde.
There you go. I haven't heard that.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. I love it.
Absolutely.
Well, guys, 1698,
Oh, yeah,
a few years back.
Is this the Ricky Royo show?
Oh no, but this was because it's 1698. We got to start with that one because this is the
Yo
oldest one.
Yo
This
entiendo.
is Willie's show. This is Willie's
I'm just saying we all have our segment. And, you know, I know
Sí, te había
Ricky
radio,
Royo, you don't
ven,
wanna
mami.
talk now. He's like, oh, so no, I'm just gonna get a bite to eat. When you get done with that, let me know and I'll.
Yeah. Sorry, Willie. Sorry, but I got some good ones. He's got his list. I got my list.
Yeah, see, he did okay. He Ricky, for him, Bochinche, it goes from 2025 all the way to 1590. So anything in China is recent gossip and Bochinche.
Yeah. This was
So,
1698.
throw it out there.
No, but this is a good Bochinche. Listen. This is a good
but
story.
it's not Bochinche, is what I'm trying to say.
No, this is history. This is fact. This is history. 1,200 Scottish guys got together in 1698 and decided to take off to Panama to start the Darien Scheme. That's what it was known.
That is correct.
Which was actually like a colony. Yeah, 1698. They actually arrived in Panama November 2nd.
Despite widespread poverty, the people of Scotland showed up.
Oops, sorry.
The amount of money subscribed was
Yeah, the people from Scotland, man. They decided, let's go check out that Panama spot.
Well, and there's some interesting things about that. I mean, this was the first real attempt to settle that Darien area there, and you know, come to find out, obviously it was quite inhospitable. We've learned that until 20, whatever. But you know, the aim was to create a thriving colony in the Darien region, believing it held strategic importance for the trans-Isthmian trade. Okay, which trans-Isthmian is, again, this is pre-Panama Railroad and certainly pre-Panama Canal, but there's already that talk. There's already that consideration. You know, the Pacific side has been discovered at this point. Balboa has already made that discovery. In fact, coincidentally, he went through that same Darien region to get there. And so, you know, Spain had already been colonizing the area, and they found that was a perfect route to get their goods up to, back to Spain. You know, if you think about the terrain in South America at the time, everything coming from Peru and from, that area there and Chile where the Incan Empire was, in order to get that to the Atlantic side, if you tried to go up through Colombia, that is the most inhospitable terrain there is, which is one of the reasons why I think we spoke about it one time. I think Michael Yon, when he was on, mentioned that Colombia is so mountainous and terrain is so rugged that there's not a lot of transportation. And, to this day, still in 2025, it takes hours and hours to get from one city to another if you don't fly. And so it was cheaper and more feasible to take all that gold, from the Pacific area in South America up to Panama, because at this point they already knew that it's a very narrow passage there. And that's why it became an area of such importance. It was easier and quicker to go put it on a boat and go to Panama than it was to go straight up through South America. So, it always was a big, big trading area. And that Darien in particular was an area that the Scottish people looked at. The other thing was that in Scotland at that time, remember, there was a lot of turmoil in Scotland. England and Cromwell and these guys were trying to unify the United Kingdom and everything else. So there was a lot going on there. And this, they ended up trying to make this place that colony. And it was going to be called the New Caledonia.
New Caledonia, correct.
Which again, that famous area in Panama that was New Caledonia, and that's where that name came from.
Central, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Caledonia.
So it was a company called the Company of Scotland Trading to Africa and the Indies. Spearheaded the project. That's quite a name. I think that alone is probably what cost them. That's such a stupid name, but nonetheless, they made the attempt to go down there. obviously, like we've learned from much of the history of Panama, way up until even part of the canal construction from the Americans, that disease was one you didn't mess with in Panama. If you thought that you were powerful and mighty, the little tiny mosquitoes in Panama could wipe you out in no time flat.
In no
So
time. And
it
those
was
guys, yeah, those guys were all DNA from Bayano. If you guys remember our Bayano story.
yes,
So yeah, those
absolutely.
were some tough hombres in that area.
Yeah, the people there have been there for generations, man. I mean,
Generations,
they're one with the mosquito there
and then all
versus
the albinos showed up.
right,
Anyways,
exactly.
all right, for to newer times, 1902 on this day.
Going, man. Oh yeah. All right, go
Which
ahead.
one?
No, dale. Go do your thing, Papa. Go ahead. Keep going.
I don't know. You got to cue me in. All right. Well, 1908, 1902, guys. What happened on 6/28, 1902? The U.S. buys the concession to build the canal from the French. $40 million. Willie, guess who got a big check on this day? Today, that check equivalent today, that check would be 62 million.
Yes.
Bonavaria,
Yes,
our famous Bonavaria, got his big, fat, juicy commission check of, at that time, was $800K, but today dollars at $62 million. So right on to Bonavaria. And then Willie, a year later, guess what happens? In Colombia, they had to get a new dictator because, the year before they lost Panama, right? So, yeah, and his name was Rafael Reyes, the new Colombian dictator. Okay, Willie, your turn. You can do 5.
Gee, thanks. Gosh, I don't even know what I'm doing now, but let me see here. I don't know. Let me see. What do we got here?
Okay, no, just kidding.
No, I'm serious. I lost my track.
You lost your spot. Well, let's go. 1915. Something else happened on this day. United States government minted their first $50 gold piece. And why is this important? Because it was in commemoration of the Panama Pacific Exposition.
Yes, correct.
Of 1915. It was in San Francisco, just down across the street from where I live. And it was to commemorate the, San Francisco coming back after the big earthquake and the opening of the Panama Canal.
Yeah.
Because if you guys remember at that time, the technology used on the Panama Canal was the latest. It was the greatest and latest, so it was part of the exposition on how that technology was used to dig that canal. So that's what happened in 1915, guys, on this date. Willie, you ready?
Go do that. You've got the paper. I don't have that paperwork on that one.
You don't got that one? Okay, 1972. This was a big one, too. On this date in 1972, I don't know if you guys even remember that because I was alive, and I don't remember it. But 128 people died in the Panama City of a hurricane. It was actually a storm called Agnes, but it got upgraded to a hurricane coming in from the Pacific and killed 128 Panamanians.
How about
1972.
Now,
it was actually on June 19th, guys.
So now I'm curious though, Pacific side, and maybe somebody can help us out, but aren't Pacific Ocean hurricanes called typhoons? What's the deal on that?
Typhoons?
I thought that's what it was.
Typhoons were like in the Chinese area.
Maybe. I always thought it was the Pacific side because even you hear about it, the typhoons that are approaching Mexico. In fact, there was one just.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
you're right. A typhoon was approaching. So what is the deal with that? How come some are called typhoons and some are called hurricanes?
Right, unless it crossed over from the Atlantic. But June is awfully early, and most of your early, on the Pacific side, it seems that they come in earlier than they do on the Atlantic side. But there is that possibility that it just came across. Although even that, typically when they cross over, they're weakened. And this thing to kill 128 people must have been quite the storm.
Yeah, because it went up from a tropical storm.
Yeah.
It bumped up. So wow, 1972, guys. I don't know if anybody remembers that, but yeah, that was brutal.
Interesting.
And then in 1984, on June 15, we were talking about Roberto Duran. This is when he lost to Thomas Hearns on this day for that light middleweight title. So sorry, Roberto, that we mentioned that, but it is history, and it did happen this week in Panama.
Yeah, and we did celebrate your victory against Sugar Ray anyway. Your arrival with everybody, and that was I think it was Chris Jeffries earlier that put in it was Howard Cosell that was the announcer on that. Yeah, you could hear Howard Cosell's voice announcing Roberto Duran arriving in Paitilla. So yeah, that was pretty cool. That was interesting. So yeah, no, interesting history about Panama, especially that Darien one, because those poor Scots. I mean, they arrived and this expedition bankrupted Scotland, which ultimately, contributed to them being unable to fight the British approaches to unify all of the British Isles into the United Kingdom, minus Ireland, of course. But they arrived there, and of course I think it said it was 20% of their GDP was spent on that expedition. It was, the whole country bought into this thing.
That's huge.
It was, and when they arrived, not only were they facing disease and everything, but remember the Spaniards were there, and they weren't just gonna be like, "Oh, sure, come on in, welcome." So they brought them hard, and they were already established there, and they probably had good relations with a lot of the locals there. So it was, it was an uphill battle from day one. And
they were definitely missing William Wallace.
Yeah, there was that. Yeah, definitely no William Wallace there tonight. That's for sure. Yeah, that one didn't work at all, man. But yeah, interesting history of.
Wait, 1698? Isn't that around the time of William Wallace? When was William Wallace around?
It was about that time, I think.
It was about that time,
and it was that same concept of England trying to subdue, the Scots.
So look at that! Look at that! We just put those two dots together.
All right, and Andrew
William Wallace probably went to Panama.
Okay,
so they're all cyclones. Okay,
right on. So,
comes from a captain. What are you going to say? Argue with the guy?
Try to argue with him. I'm just get tired of seeing all those damn cyclone season signs.
Yeah.
Hey, it's cyclone season. No, it's hurricane season.
Geographic location distinguishes the name. Yes, that's
okay.
What we're
Right on.
seeing.
Look at this guy.
Yeah,
right on. This is why we have this guy on, man, because he knows. A tropical cyclone that develops in the northwestern Pacific, west of the internet. There it is. West of the international date line is a typhoon. Okay, so when they hit Mexico, they're probably they're misnaming it then, because it really isn't a typhoon based on this. Good to know.
Just like the Gulf. No, just kidding. I'm kidding.
Which Gulf, Ricky?
I'm not going to say anything. Never mind. That one slipped.
That's too funny. Well, hey, you know what? We're allowed to do that around here. We can get away with that stuff. But nonetheless, listen, guys, good stuff here. Again, any thoughts on the reunion? Let us know. We'll keep in touch. Post something on the Facebook channel if you want. But again, our thoughts at this point are we going to do a live broadcast from, where we're going to do it, or do we change the schedule, but
I would say go for a 2,
and that's the one. And I think we'll probably end up doing that. I don't mind, and even that one, in all honesty, I wouldn't mind going up in a room and doing that for 30, 45 minutes, just a Canal Zone report, a Canal reunion report,
Yeah,
or
and show
do it
some
downstairs,
videos so everybody can watch what's going on. That'd be great. I think that'd be
a lot of fun, so. But anyway, guys, listen, it's again, we are less than a week away from the Canal Zone reunion. If you haven't paid up your membership, you can do it when you arrive there as well, or do it ahead of time, but make sure that you do have your membership paid up. Go and enjoy the reunion. It's a great time for Zonians, but make sure that you do it the right way and take care of the society, which is taking care of us and providing us this great reunion. So anyhow, looking forward to it. Fingers crossed that maybe Ricky can make it, but if not, we will be on the air one way or the other. Otherwise, though, great night, everybody. Thanks a lot. Ricky, get us out of here, man.
Thank you, everybody. Thanks for putting up with our show tonight. We really try to put on a good show every week for you guys. Thank you for participating. Thank you for being with us.
Take care, guys. Have a great weekend, everybody.